Becoming a video editor. It's not easy, but it's an essential skill if you want to get into YouTube. Thankfully, though, there are plenty of locations on the internet where you can learn how to become a successful video editor. And if you get really into it, and if you do really enjoy it, there are multiple paths available to you. And there are plenty of ways to make money as a video editor other than running your own channel. Here's the thing, if you're good at video editing and you love doing it, there are multiple opportunities for you to make a living doing what you love. Most people tend to think about editing videos doing it all for their own YouTube channel. What you probably don't know or do know is that most of the biggest YouTubers in the world don't edit their own videos. They hire other people to do it for them. These video editors are the unsung heroes in the background making all of these masterpieces come to life. I got to speak with Snugboy, who is a professional video editor, and he has been a professional video editor for his entire career. He loves editing videos and he loves making content. He has his own successful YouTube channel, which he posts things that he personally enjoys, like Zelda or reviewing every single Barbie movie in the world.
Greta Gerwig's new film Barbie wasn't the first time our favorite doll had hit the screen, but was in fact the 43rd.
Yeah, but his videos and his editing skills are fantastic. The thing is, this channel is just his portfolio. He uses it as a way to demonstrate his skills to people who need video editors so he can keep doing what he loves. Before we get stuck into the interview, if you have been enjoying the creator dashboard and what I've been doing here, subscribe to the channel. The bigger we can get the audience, the bigger the creators I can get on here, and the more insights we can share with everyone else. Anyway, let's get to the interview.
One question I did have for you is like, well, I guess you kind of just learned how to edit by wanting to post stuff up on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And then you started gravitating more to the editing side of like the video creation or the content creation side of it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you had another part, and I thought you just took a drink, and I was like, "Ooh, what's he gonna
You just hold that.
I thought it was like dot dot dot.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's on me. Yeah. I mean, what do you mean? Sorry.
I guess it kind of feels like a pathway, like when you're doing YouTube, you could either go into YouTube and be a YouTuber and like you're the face of the chat, like a main channel, and that's all you're doing. Or a lot of YouTubers tend to go into like primarily editing and like you do your YouTube's more of like a portfolio.
Yeah, no, totally. And I feel like you can see this. There are a lot of YouTubers I watch, and I'm like, oh, you have no editing. It's just a 4-hour video, and you're so charismatic, and your content's so strong that you don't need it. And then I watch people, and their editing is just off the wall, so insane. Like I think I'm not a very egotistical person, but I look at it, I'm like, I think I'm pretty good, and I have no idea how these people are doing this. Like, there's such a spectrum on YouTube. I think a lot of times on YouTube, I find people who are really, really, really good editors, and they've got a small amount of subscribers because they are using YouTube as like a portfolio to be like, hey, look at me. And if you go to any big YouTuber, any big streamer or anything on YouTube, you go in the description, you click on the editor, it'll be some guy with maybe 1,000 subscribers and 10 of the most incredibly edited anime videos that you've ever seen in your life. And those are, I think, the people who are really into editing who want to use it as a job.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, there are definitely exceptions, but I think a lot of YouTubers who are big are like, oh, can I swear on this or no?
Oh yeah, go for it.
They're like, oh, fuck editing. Oh god, the second I get big enough, I'm going to pay someone else to edit for me because I want to be like a host. If we're making traditional media, I want to present and write, and then someone else can do all the hard bits. Because I think it can be a bit grueling at times.
It is, and it can actually take away a bit of the creative side of it. Like sometimes I struggle because I like to edit, but then like if I'm doing too much editing, I can't like get in the creative side because you got to like balance it, especially if you're doing this like if you're working full time. I'll be like playing a game, doing the gameplay, or like background streaming. You'd be streaming, and then you have to go, okay, now I need to turn this into a video. You kind of break that flow.
Yeah.
So I did that. Like I did a playthrough of Baldur's Gate, and so like what I would have to do is I did one act, and Baldur's Gate was easier because it was in acts. But I do one act, stop, and edit it for 2 weeks. So that's 2 weeks of like not playing the game.
No, oh for sure.
Yeah, so you lose like your work, like your flow state of playing the game. I guess that can be hard for people who want to just keep flowing.
Yeah, I love editing, but sometimes I think it's like fancy Excel spreadsheet. Like you're just dragging little squares and boxes around. Really, at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yep. What editing software do you use?
I use Adobe Premiere Pro,
Yeah.
but I think I might swap over to DaVinci Resolve soon because that seems to be where everybody is heading at the minute. Um, I think on account that Adobe is just overcharged and a subscription, and DaVinci's free and incredible now apparently.
Yeah, I actually use DaVinci Resolve myself.
Yeah, you like it?
I've never used any of the Adobe suites. I just can't bring myself to paying for them,
No,
and
for sure.
I've
Yeah,
never had an issue with DaVinci Resolve.
that's what I've heard. Like, and I know a bunch of people. For those American YouTubers I was working for, like I think maybe like a third or half of them were using DaVinci, and the rest of us are using Premiere. I think honestly, if I could start from scratch, I think I might. I might learn it if I was starting fresh today.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Interesting to know. I mean, considering it was free, the barrier of entry is low. The only thing
Yeah,
is it's a little bit complicated compared to from what I've heard. I've never used um, any of the Adobe stuff, but from what I heard, it's a lot more complicated to learn.
yeah. I think that is true. But I mean, if I think if you get your teeth into it, it's good.
Yeah,
Probably.
and there's plenty of content on YouTube that will teach you how to use it.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't
Yeah.
have recommended it 5 years ago, but now I think enough people use it. Like, there's enough. Because like one of the advantages of using Premiere is because everyone uses it. Everyone has little custom uh, um, like add-ons and things you can drag on and
Yep.
packs you can buy.
Mm.
And I think that sort of community is building up on DaVinci now, which is awesome, which is very cool.
All right. So, what's the first thing that I should consider, or someone should consider when it comes to like editing videos for YouTube? Like we're talking
Um,
about making killer YouTube videos, and what's the first thing that someone should really think about?
yeah, I guess I feel like trying to put myself in the mindset of someone like starting fresh. Like, I remember like editing is very, very daunting. And the
Mm.
thing I try to always remember, and I say this in my panel, is like you put a clip in the timeline and you cut it in half, and like that's it. That's the first step. Like, you're an editor now. It's like you've done the daunting part. And I think you got to remember that like it is a skill. You will just get better at it the more you do it over time and over
Mm.
time. And so I think you want to get better by experimentation and just doing, like, think of it like the gym. Like, it's every time you make a video, even if one video all you know how to do is just cut out filler of a clip, and then maybe you learn how to add text and then effects and then whatever and then all the fancy stuff, like you'll
Yeah.
get up to that and you'll build up to it. And the other thing too is, I would say, is and you'd be doing this anyway if you want to be doing YouTube or content creation. Like, just watch lots of stuff and then be like, oh, how do they do that edit? I wonder how I do that. Google, how do I do water effect or whatever? And then yeah, if that makes
I
any
guess
sense.
no, it makes perfect sense. It's a good thing, and I guess like you've just got to test it. You've actually just got to do it. Like,
Yeah.
is being afraid or unsure of actually like doing it can be, I guess, an easy barrier to just to prevent yourself from getting into it. But like, I guess the
Mm.
first step is just, you know, get into it and post something, because I guess YouTube ultimately will tell you if it was good or not, or like,
Mm.
how well it did, and you just have to keep practicing on that, right?
Mm. Like I said before too, there are so many people who have success on YouTube who don't have much editing at all. Like, the big one I think about is Jenny Nicholson. I don't know if you know her. She does like
Not,
2 hour videos where she just talks to camera and occasionally cuts, and every video has like 5 million views because she's so interesting and charismatic. Like, I
yep.
think I think some YouTubers get a bit maybe overzealous about like having incredible, really very funny edits every 3 seconds to like get the TikTok brain. But
Mm.
you don't need that as a thing. Like, you'll find your own style and whatever.
Yeah, I guess, and that comes down to like practicing and knowing your audience, and like I guess you've still got to like put something online to know if that's something that
Yeah,
somebody wants,
it's all trial
because
and error.
yeah, it's all trial and error. But I think well, like you said, like if you're just cutting at the very basic, and like for example, if you're a Twitch streamer and you just want to cut down a VOD,
Mm.
like cutting out some of the boring stuff is probably the first thing you want to do, and that probably does majority of the editing anyway once you kind
Yeah,
of work
absolutely.
that out.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing too is like be resilient. Like I remember learning how to use Premiere after using another editing program, and it's like
Mm.
it can be so frustrating because you accidentally knock a key and you're like, what? Why is everything different? Why is everything upside down? And there's like a million buttons, but like you will learn it, and it will become muscle memory. And sometimes I'll edit things and I just pause. I look at my hands. I'm like, what? How did I do that? Like I don't know. You get fast at it the more you do it. I mean, like
Yeah,
anything, you
yeah.
know.
I find learning your shortcuts is like the biggest thing. But I
Oh,
use my
absolutely.
Stream Deck, and I program all my shortcuts to my Stream Deck to do everything
Oh,
that
dude,
way.
that's really clever.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
rather than using my keyboard, because sometimes like well, I mean, there's only a handful of keys shortcuts that I tend to use over and over, like you cut, paste, undo, control, like there's a few other more specific ones, but I just have them all on my Stream Deck, and it
Mm,
just simplifies the entire process
that's
of
really,
trying
really
to.
cool.
Yeah, it's just like having one of those proper editing boards, but it's just like you know something's made for streaming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I find that super useful, and I guess as you do it, and as the more you do it, the more you will realize what can help save you time with your
Mm,
editing.
yeah. The other thing about like getting better at it too is it's not just like the physical. How do I press Control C, Control V? But you also get better editing
Intuition.
sense intuition. Thank you. Intuition and sense in terms of like pacing and how to frame things and like
Mm.
those things. I don't think you really teach, but they instinctively get better the more you do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that like you can look at a timeline, you can see okay, this is starting to, or as you're watching it, you can feel this is starting to drag out. How can I chop this up? Like, how can I
Hmm,
make
hmm.
this a little bit better? And it's yeah, it definitely comes with practice. I would say I'm a lot better at it than I used to be.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's
Yeah,
one of the
that's
fun
cool.
things too about YouTube is like sometimes I love going back to like my early videos and remembering how hard it was to make them and being like, oh, it's nothing now. Like it's very
Yeah,
rewarding to be like, I'm so much better.
yeah. That's it. It's good. I would never go back through my old videos.
You
So I
gotta
started.
at least once, at least
Uh,
once.
so I started making YouTube videos back in 2012.
Hmm.
Well, actually, my first YouTube video was even prior to that. You remember when Melbourne Shuffle was a thing?
Oh, vaguely.
All right, so it was like a whole thing, and then there was like the shuffling videos that would go online. I used to upload shuffling videos back in the day. That was the first videos I edited.
Like the
Like,
LMFAO shuffling.
yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah, no.
well, pre-LMFAO, like that kind of
Oh.
commercialized it. It was like, everyone was wearing fat pants with the other glowing strips on them. Like, considering how much of YouTube you've watched and you've never heard of shuffling videos, you really gotta like. There's a whole section of YouTube dedicated to that.
All right,
Um,
I'll put it on the list. I'll.
yeah. So that was like the first stuff I did, and then I went into like, I started like wanting to do like what PewDiePie does, and that was like their next videos, and there's a
Mm,
whole channel that I've buried, still
yeah.
there, that of like old videos that I made were like based off like that kind of era,
Yeah,
and I don't think I could ever go back and watch them. It's cringe.
yeah.
um, but I guess I should just to see where I came from, just to
Yeah.
get an idea.
Well, I don't know if you remember at the panel I did at DreamHack, like that was one of the fun parts. Like I unearthed like the hidden videos from when I was like 13, and like that's just so embarrassing. But it was very sweet to do that for the panel. Like I was cringing the whole time, but it was like, oh, like I remember like adding text in for the first time and being like, oh my god, text, and then putting. I remember doing a video with like lightsabers, and I learned how to do lightsabers and like do the glowing light bit, and I was like, that's so cool. And I spent like all day just doing that, like, and it's very fun to see your progression.
Yeah, I guess you've got to like your progression, because it's like I could show my wife all the stuff that I come up with, and she'd be like, cool, and she would definitely not be as impressed as I would be. So
Uh,
okay, so you say you want to start editing a video. What would be the most important part of the video? Like, what is the overall importance, I guess, of the introduction of the video?
of the introduction.
Mm,
Yeah, so I think the big thing on YouTube is like it's got to be a hook from the start, and I think that's regardless of what genre, what type of video you're doing. Like you need people click off really quickly in that first 30 seconds. I think is
mm,
the time mark, and so you can do this in like in a multitude of ways. Like I think that the big famous one is the Mr. Beast one, where it's like, in this video, I get 600 horses and I drop them, and you're like, whoa, 600 horses? That's crazy. I'm gonna
Mm.
stick around.
Mhm.
Uh, I think just making if you're writing a video or if you're just doing it off the cuff, like just making sure that first hook is really dynamic and interesting. I tend to like I mean, my videos I think are very editing heavy, anyways. But I try to make the editing really spicy and snappy and fun in that first 10 seconds. And you want to jump right into the action. The worst thing is when you on YouTube, you don't wait around 5 minutes for the video to start. Like you click off way before you give up. People give up on
Yeah.
videos. So you
Yep.
want to make sure you just want to make sure that that intro is juicy and it's yeah. You
Yeah.
want to hook
Yeah.
people.
That's what. So if you're going to put the most amount of effort into an edit, those first few seconds are like where you should be putting the most amount of effort, as you're saying, because
Absolutely,
that's
yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
you're going to lose people. Because if they're
Absolutely.
not when I watch that, then well, the rest of the movie, the rest of the video is history. And I guess it doesn't really matter as long as you've got their attention those first few seconds. They'll probably keep watching a good majority of it, and then
Absolutely.
YouTube likes that, and that's what YouTube
Yeah.
are really looking for, right?
Well, think about it. So many people watch YouTube while they're eating dinner or whatever. And how many times have you put your food down and you try to find a video and you click and you're like, no, next one. Nah. Oh, okay, I like this. And then
Yep.
remotes down eating dinner. It's like that. You want to hook people in, and they'll stick around for at least a while.
Yeah, because then they have to put their food down and get up and change the video. So
Yeah.
they're
And if
already
they've
past
hooked
that
you
hurdle.
in, they're not gonna do that. They're eating their food. They're eating their
But I
yummy
guess that's
steak and veg.
so I guess that like applies to every kind of video format, regardless of
Mhm.
if it's YouTube or if it's TikTok. Like, short form videos and TikToks, they might only be a minute long, but people, it's so easy for someone to swipe away.
Yeah.
It's like
You
the
can see that
importance is,
format really distilled on TikTok because even 10-second ones, they still follow that. It's like that first frame that you swipe onto
yeah,
has to be visually interesting. The first word has to be because 10 seconds. And I don't even think people fully watch 10-second TikToks. I think people usually swipe before it's up. Like,
mm.
you know,
Well, I have been guilty of it. Like
yeah,
you would swipe it, watch like a couple steps and swipe away, and then your brain goes, "Oh, hang on, I was actually doing that," and you go back to watch
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah.
video.
I do that all the
And
time.
you're like, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa!" Your brain and your hand are like working against each other.
Yeah. Another really good tip is to use text a lot in the start of a video.
Mm,
Um and people do that definitely if you're doing TikToks.
yep.
Um that's the thing when I worked for these American guys we had to do that a lot. I had to make sure there was like lots of text up in the sort of first chunk of the video because something about snappy text that sort of keeps you eyeing because I guess because you're reading even though you're reading what they're saying, it
Mm.
keeps you like a little bit more engaged.
From what I've seen, or like done the research for when it comes to editing, and what I've actually applied in my own videos is,
Hmm.
and why I've applied it in my own videos is when you're hovering the thumbnail, people don't get the audio, but they'll
Oh, of
get the
course. Yes, yes.
text on the screen. So it gives them a visual indication as to what's being spoken about
Hmm.
while they're previewing the thumbnail. And if they can make sense of it through there, they're more likely to click and go through. So it's also using the thumbnail kind of aspect for it. So,
Hmm.
and that only applies for like the first 10 seconds. So if in my videos, most of them, I have text in the first 30 seconds of the video, and then I give up on it because it's too hard to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
edit in
I
for the whole
hate
video.
text. Mate, I tell you, I've learned every single way to do text and videos, and it's always the worst. It's always such
Yeah,
a factory.
it is a pain. Although
But
I've seen there's a few AI tools that can do it now.
yeah, right. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that helps speed along the process. I've seen some stuff, and I think in some ways it'd be really cool. In some ways, not so much.
Mm. I do know DaVinci Resolve has got a text edit, like uh,
Mm,
AI text editor or in there.
very cool.
So in the paid version, I haven't seen it, but
Oh,
I've
that
heard it's okay.
bloody paid version, pesky
Yeah,
paywall.
yeah. But I mean, it's definitely something worth considering.
Absolutely.
So, um, I guess on the editing tools, what kind of tools would you recommend someone to kind of get into when they first start out?
Aside from just like what program to use, or what do you mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, what program to use, but then also, are there any other tools that they can make use of that you would find useful?
Yeah, okay. So I guess the first big hoop is like what editing program do you want to use? And we sort of touched on that. I feel like the big ones at the moment are Premiere Pro or DaVinci. I've
Mm,
got a friend who only uses Apple and he swears by Final Cut Pro. He says it's the best thing since sliced bread. I think he's a madman, but like, that's just advice out there. If you're using the Adobe Suite, I think it's just really smart to just make use of all their things, such as Photoshop for image editing, Audition for voice recording, and After Effects if you want to delve into visual effects. Ooh, ah.
Yeah.
It scares me, but I try to get in there. I try to use it just for simple stuff like rotoscoping or tracking images. Um, I think a tool everyone should use, and if you're a streamer or whatever, you're already going to have it. But OBS is the best program on my computer. I use it every day for everything. Even if it's just like recording, instead of downloading like a 20-minute video for a 3-second clip, I just record the 3-second clip off YouTube or whatever.
Ah, yeah, that's a good point. Rather than downloading the whole video, you just
Yeah,
screen grab the clip.
absolutely. And then on that note, there's a really great program called Media Human, which lets you download music to like a YouTube video. You put it in Media Human, and then it's an MP3 file. And then
Yep.
there's a lot of apps you can use to download videos. But someone told me it's actually illegal technically. So you
To
can
download videos.
yeah. So quick Google search for the programs.
Well, technically, it depends on what you're using them for and how you're like what you're including them in. That's where the question mark
Yeah.
comes in because it's
Well,
a bit
just a
of
year
copyright.
ago, when I found the program that I use now, I was just looking at different YouTube videos, and the first one opened up, and this guy was like, "It is illegal to download YouTube videos. I hope you know that." I was like, "Ah, all right."
Well, I'm pretty sure with YouTube Premium, you can download anyone's videos.
Yeah, but not like to your computer. It's just to the
Oh, to
website.
watch it for later. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good to know. I mean, yeah, just
I
don't
only say
use
that
the.
just I don't I don't want a lawyer to be like lock me up or whatever. But there's if you just look up like YouTube video down, like there's a million, you'll find a program that does it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it comes down to like you using the content, whoever's using it.
Yeah.
Make sure you use it within the rights. If you're
Yeah.
if you're going to be stripping someone's video to post it as your own,
Mm.
that's bad. Don't
And on my
do that.
personal videos, I always try to credit. I always put in the videos that I've borrowed or whatever, and I put them in the description.
Mm.
I think it's the courteous thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Good to know. Good to know. So I guess for like editing tools, like I use DaVinci Resolve, I think
Mm.
is a good free one for a lot of people to get into. The learning curve is high, but for considering it's free and how powerful it is, once you can get past that learning curve, like you kind of
Mm.
set yourself up for some pretty good stuff that you can accomplish with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've never gotten into Premiere Pro myself, but I guess there's always that expense side of it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. And the free trial ain't that long. I think it's like 2 weeks, which
One
is
week.
a 1 week. Is it? That's no, it's not enough at all.
Try and get a 30-minute video edited in 1 week.
Yeah, absolutely. God. I mean, if you're a student listening, the student discounts, like it's still expensive, but it's a lot better.
So
But
yeah,
nothing beats free.
very, very true. So yeah, DaVinci Resolve is a good one to get into.
Hmm.
So how long should a good YouTube or good video be?
I don't know, really. I think it depends. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. I think so. If you're doing like very frequent content, maybe like stream recaps or whatever, I think
Mm,
like 10 to 25 is what I see a lot. Um, probably the best answer is to look at all the big guys. Look at like Mr. Beast or Ludwig or any top streamer and see what they're doing. I think they're
mm,
often doing like a couple times a week 10-minute videos. But then a lot
yeah,
of the videos that I like to watch are those big long video essays, and they get rewarded by YouTube because of the big long watch time. So stuff that's
yeah,
2, 3, 4 hours long has 100,000 or even a million views because people stick around and they watch. So it really, the genre that you find yourself making stuff in, I like advise you to just watch a lot of that and see what everyone else is doing and sort of copy. And
yeah.
yeah,
Make it your own.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's essentially like I think it's a very good point because you obviously watch a lot of video, like the video essay style videos,
Mm,
and a lot of your content, well, pretty much all of your videos are the video essay style, so you kind of
mm.
follow in that kind of
And I
footprint.
found if I make it like a 10-minute video essay, it never does very well compared to like one that's 30 plus minutes.
Interesting.
because I think the
Interesting.
expectations of that sort of genre.
Yeah,
Um,
because they want to sit down for a good listen.
yeah, because a lot of people tell me they put it on while they're doing their dishes or drawing and stuff, and then like my eye twitches because I'm like, what do you mean you're not looking at it? I put so much effort.
You see how that's shaped?
Literally.
See how it zoomed in?
I'll like
It
kill
took me a long
myself
time.
over like the amount of frames on a zoom, and then someone's like, "Yeah, it was good when I was on my run, man." And I was like, "All right, well, you're running like this."
I hope so. I guess that's why his podcasts have become so popular because people
Yeah,
can either listen to them or watch them. It's all pretty good content.
absolutely, absolutely.
No, that's interesting. That's interesting. I did have a kind of follow-up question from that, but
Yeah.
well, I guess yeah. So, like, how much do you pay attention to YouTube algorithm? Because a lot of people get stuck into this. I myself have thought about it, but I've got a different opinion, so I want to hear what you kind of think about the algorithm.
I'm the worst guy in the world. I like do not pay attention at all.
Mm,
I really, really do believe, as corny as it is, that like if you make good stuff, like if you really put the effort in and you make a good video, like people will show up.
mm,
My most popular video is called Twilight Princess is the most underrated Zelda game, and it's like at 850,000 views, and it
yep.
took a month to hit 1,000, and then like 6 months after that, then it got found and went up to 100K, and then over the last
So it
three
took
years,
6 months of it kind of cooking
yeah.
to get it.
Um,
Yeah, right.
and again, it's like long watch time, and not to be cocky, but like I feel like it's a good video, and it
Yeah.
just needed time to find that, and that is definitely a also. I mean, also it's a long videos that has that watch time. So if someone watches the entire thing, YouTube rewards that. So like stuff like that doesn't really happen often for 10-minute videos. Um,
Mm,
but to me personally, I find, especially people who are starting out who like are strictly following trends and strictly following the algorithm, it feels very inauthentic, and I think the people who find success are the people who are themselves and bring their character and their authenticity.
mm,
So not to say don't follow trends, but
yeah.
I think it's good to have one foot in the door of what's going on and one foot in the door of just whatever you're interested in.
Yeah, I think that's it's an important thing because it's very easy to follow the algorithm, but without realizing that the algorithm's there to serve the audience and
Hmm.
to make sure people don't take advantage of YouTube and just deliver, have delivered trash, like have trash delivered to the consumer.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
like, YouTube wants to show people good videos,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
doesn't know what good videos are.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's got to use other people's to do that. So if you're trying to like trick it, you're only going to like do yourself a disservice because it'll serve up your video and then people might not necessarily like it. So,
Hmm.
like you said, it's just about kind of creating a good video that isn't entertaining and then people will just watch it.
Yeah, but like, but you still sort of want to pay attention. I mean, like the stuff we are talking about earlier, like making sure those first 30 seconds are really entertaining. Like that is paying
Mm,
attention to the algorithm. But I guess the
yeah.
thing is, like, if you build up an audience, they're going to remember you or they're going to like you and subscribe to you in the first place because of you, not because of
Mm,
you popped up in their homepage. Well, I guess you know what I mean. Like they're not
yeah.
going to think, oh,
Well, I
the
think
algorithm delivered me.
there's a couple things that you should be doing to make sure that you're helping the algorithm serve
Yes.
your content.
Yeah.
So like thumbnails, titles, first 30
Oh,
seconds,
yes, absolutely. Yes, yes.
video length. Like those are the things that the algorithm will use. So you got to tick those boxes. But
Mm,
then ultimately having a very good video edit
mm,
is then like that's what follows it through. So you get someone to watch your video is the first step, but then you gotta make sure that the video itself is like you and
mm.
genuine and like what you
And good.
want
Yeah.
to serve. Yeah. And you're just demonstrating you being yourself. So, where can someone get ideas to kind of inspire themselves or be inspired to edit better, or like
Uh,
edit or just do YouTube better?
yeah, I mean, honestly, just watching YouTube. Just I think the more even I've actually had this recently where I felt like a bit uninspired. I'm like, no, I gotta reshake my YouTube algorithm is just like all music, and I'm like, no, let's get some just proper videos in there. Let's like watch some stuff, and it's nice. Like I'll watch videos and I'll see people edit in different ways. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. The way they use that sound effect or the way they cut from here to here. That's really really great. And also watching like a wide variety of stuff.
Mm,
My boss, he like will just spend a day watching YouTube and he'll just take notes on like and you watch a
mm,
wide array of things and take notes on what everyone else is doing. You don't have to go that hardcore, but just making sure you're watching stuff. And then in terms of like on how to get better at editing, apart from sort of watching stuff and taking notes, there are like a lot of YouTube channels which are about how to be a better editor. And I think my
Yeah.
favorite is this guy called Finzar, Finzar, because he makes
Yeah.
really funny videos about how to edit, and so they're very engaging, but they're also informative. So that's a
Okay.
great place I
Finza.
would go check.
Yeah, I think I might have heard of him. Is he? Did he used to edit for Miss? No, Jake. Uh, look, I can't remember. I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah,
There's a couple that I
potentially.
followed. Jake Paul, I think, was one. Maybe not this guy, but there was another editor for Jake Paul I'd watch. Um, is it Jake Paul? I'm having a mental.
Yeah. Well, I think with those big productions, I mean, I was sort of a part of the American guys I was working for. They had 1 million subscribers, and there was like 12 of us editors, and we're just all working all the time. Um,
On the same projects?
no, all our own videos. So we all had a video once a week, but because there's so many
Yep.
of us, it ends up being daily uploads.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think it'd be
Wow.
like that with those big guys, but they probably have. I imagine they'd have like 20 editors for like Mr. Beast at least.
Jeez. It's pretty crazy. I mean, the production value is definitely there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I guess that comes down to like wanting to be an editor or wanting to be like in the content.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously looking on YouTube for like inspirations, what do you think are the most popular styles for editing or styles of YouTube videos at the moment?
Yeah, I really think at the moment there is a lot of favoring towards like a very very fast, very flashy sort of stuff. I think that sort of because we're in this very TikTok era where everything has to be very snappy and very quick and very fast.
Yep.
Um, so I see a lot of especially stream stream VODs that are turned into like 20-minute videos, are often like they're kind of like hyper edited. I almost like to call
Yeah.
them like it's which I like to I like to watch sometimes, and then sometimes I do think it's a bit too much. But that does seem to be what's popular because it's like they're desperately trying for 25 minutes to keep your attention by making everything flashy and fun all the time.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
again, you don't need that. Like it just depends. I've seen streamers who cut down vods to 20 minutes and it's just cutting from section to section, and the video is very popular. Like it just sort of depends on what style you sort of find yourself going into.
Going to. Yeah. And so I guess that's because I think well we talked about this earlier today, having having both an edited down VOD and the VOD
Yeah.
live. And so what do you think of the having multiple YouTube channels?
Mm.
Because I've noticed that the person you shared to me today had a VOD channel and then like their main channel. What's the kind of
Well,
benefit
that
for doing
main
that?
channel is actually his second channel, if
Ah,
you believe it or
right,
not. So
okay.
he's got three. And I think it's very smart move if you're big enough, not big, if you're doing enough videos and like those videos are widely different in genre.
Mm,
So I mean, so if your main channel is like food reviews and then you also
yeah,
stream, like it wouldn't make sense to put all the streaming stuff and the food stuff together. I think it would confuse YouTube. So I think that's why people separate them.
yeah,
Um, but and I definitely think if you're gonna have like VODs, it's smart to have like a VOD channel.
yeah,
Because and also like audiences are different, right? Like some people love to put the VOD on and they love to catch up on. I don't think that always blows my mind when people do that. I love to watch the one where it's all the fillers cut out, all the bad where he goes to the toilet is cut. Like I love to just watch just the highlights.
yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess so. It comes down to the audience. So that's the main benefit of having multiple channels. Because I've had these discussions with people, and
Hmm.
people say, "Oh, you're better off having one channel because you're spreading yourself thin." But I guess if you're someone who's willing to watch a
Well,
whole
that is
VOD,
actually a
is
good
probably
point.
yeah,
Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah, go for it.
I think you got to remember with like you want to look up to these big guys, see what they're doing, but you got to remember like a lot of them have teams and they're paying editors to maintain their channels. Like you don't want to spread yourself thin and kill yourself at the start when it's just you.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But I guess there is merit if you're going to be doing VODs and you want to post your VODs. You might be straining your one audience if
Hmm.
by putting all your VODs with your edited stuff because like if you have an audience and then you put a VOD on they're going to rush to your YouTube channel to see this like 2 hour long video. It's like they're probably not the don't want to watch that if they're used to watching edited content.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I guess like as you said, like you look at I guess an example of the channel I've watched is Asmongold. He's got like
Yeah.
clips and he's got his VODs, or like his he's got three. I think he's got clips, he's got his VODs, and then he's got like kind of cut down versions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly
but
that.
it seems like his cut down versions, the editor is like has not like is almost separate to Asmon, like the way they kind of edit their videos. I don't know if have you ever watched his
A,
stuff?
a couple.
So there's like there's somebody who edits for him,
Mm.
but they kind of almost have their own personality in his videos. So they poke fun
Ah,
at
yeah, yeah.
him, they poke fun at him, they poke fun at like the situation that's going on or what he's talking about. It's separate to how
I bet
he's
people must love that, right?
yeah, probably. I dare say
Yeah,
so.
that's cool.
Yeah. But it's interesting take to I guess different editing styles. Yeah, it's a good one. So like another popular style that I have found that works for me is I do the I guess vlog style, but like
Hmm.
about the game that I'm playing. So I'm kind of recapping what I'm doing,
Hmm.
cut it all down. So I'm cutting down to all the interesting parts, but then I narrate it
Yep.
rather than just like uh, having me reacting to stuff live. I'm narrating it, and
Hmm.
the video essay is another style that's I guess quite popular as well
Yeah, yeah.
from yourself. But I guess yeah, like you said, it's kind of coming down to finding what you enjoy doing and what works for the type of content that you're making.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think like also the different sort of genres and styles of like on YouTube sort of already have their audiences. Like there's a big bunch of people who only watch video essays, and there's a big bunch of people who
Mm.
only watch streamers clips, and there's a big bunch of people who only watch political recaps.
Yeah,
It's a very vast platform, which is what is really exciting and freaking great about YouTube.
yeah. So rather than trying to reinvent the wheel and try and come up, do your own thing.
Yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, like, be original and be yourself, but uh, you can look to see what the path that people have walked before you. Because it's
Mm.
worked for them.
Yeah, and then I guess and there's nothing wrong with trying it and seeing if you enjoy doing that
Yeah,
style.
absolutely.
And then once
Just
you
have
tick all the
fun.
boxes,
Just try stuff. That's the whole point.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. Just getting something done, getting something out there is the first step.
Absolutely, absolutely. And be willing
So
to fail and make something crap. Like allow yourself to be crap. Like with anything in life, really, but especially this. I know it can be scary because you're putting things online, but one of the good things is when you're first starting, like maybe 3 people will see your crap video, which is like the pressure is so low. Like who whatever, and then the next video is going to be a little less crap, and then a little less crap, then good, then great, then amazing.
yeah. So how long do you think would you expect a video edit to take? Like if you were to sit down to edit a video, like
Oh, it's tricky to answer. It really depends on what type of video you're doing and if you're working like a full time job. When I was working at a bank doing a 9 to 5, I was trying to make videos and I could like barely do one a month. Um, but then like likewise on the flip, when I was working as a video editor full time, I'd get a week to do a 20-minute video and I do one every single week. So
mm,
it depends on the style of video. It depends on how editing intensive it is.
yeah,
Really. So
and how much
yeah.
footage you've got to go through?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if you asked me to edit down a 4-hour VOD, but it was more just cutting out all the filler, like I could do that probably in a day or two, or if I had a full time job, probably like a couple days in a week. But if it was like
Mm,
cut down the 4-hour VOD to all the funny parts, add a bunch of meme edits, make everything really spicy and funny, like I'd be like, okay, I need a little more time.
yeah. Okay. No, it's a good one. Good one to know because as a content creator and a lot of creators in the space, as streamers,
Hmm.
they're going to be wanting to cut down their 4-hour VODs from one stream a week. Or from their
Yeah,
four weekly streams, it's probably good to have a realistic amount of time that it's going to take to turn those into videos that are
yeah.
entertaining. So,
I think if you're a beginner streamer too, I don't think you have to worry so much about matching the big dogs who do the big hyper edits. I think
mm,
just getting out videos that cuts down all the filler and interesting parts is enough, honestly. And like I know I've seen a bunch of streamers who do that and they don't have any fancy editing, who are quite successful. One I can think of off the top of my head is her name is Sarah Key. She does like plays like a lot of JRPGs. And a
yep,
lot of thumbnails, she's like always crying, and it's like I think that's sort of how she got known. She was always like the crying girl in thumbnails. Um,
yep,
and and I don't think there's like a lot of. I mean, occasionally it might zoom in on a webcam, but like that's really it, and it's just cutting down the videos. And I think because I think the thing when you're streaming and you're trying to build an audience, a stream and a VOD is a lot less digestible to a newer viewer than a 20-minute highlight.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think it would be almost even like worth doing a highlight every now and then, or if there's a good something worth highlighting to kind of capture a new audience,
Yeah. I think
and then
I think
you have
if
your
you're a
own
beginner
following?
streamer and you're wanting to build an audience, I think trying to get like a 20-minute YouTube video out every now and then would be great, because a lot more people are going to find a 20-minute YouTube video than a stream on Twitch at the bottom of the Fortnite category or whatever.
Oh, we don't even talk about discoverability on Twitch. It's not a thing.
Well, and that's the sad part, really. But like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, Twitch knows that too, right? So like, everyone like to build an audience, like, you have to go to YouTube and you have to go to TikTok and everything.
Yeah. You've got to be on those easy to digest content, because I
Yeah.
guess it's hard on Twitch.
Wait, no, actually, ignore everything I just said. If you want to prioritize one thing, it should be making TikToks over making 20-minute YouTube videos. Sorry, I didn't even think about that. TikToks are way more valuable than 20-minute YouTube videos.
True, true. That
But
being
both are
said,
good.
yeah, I mean both are good options. It just depends on the style of content that you want to do. Like
Yeah.
personally, I've found more success on YouTube than I've done with TikTok, but I
Mm,
haven't put as much time into TikTok than I have in YouTube. So who knows?
absolutely, yeah.
You know, who knows? Somebody might watch your Barbie video in YouTube TikTok format as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
I challenge you to like what was it? All 40 video or 40 movies you
Or
did on
42.
42 movies. Rate them all and put them all on as a TikTok series and see how it goes.
Yeah. That would actually probably do well. I should do that. Yeah. I'm stealing that. Thank you very much.
No worries. I'm here all day. So, in videos,
Mhm.
should you include background music?
Yeah.
Because I've had this in some of my videos where people complained about background music, and it could be that the music was too loud, probably
Mm.
the case. But what do you reckon?
I'm definitely for it. I have a friend who they don't like putting music in their videos at all.
Mm,
And that's sort of their style. But I feel like 95% of people do put music in, and I personally love it because I feel like it sort of sets the tone of the joke or the video. I really like it.
yep.
Um, the big things I would say is even if your content's not gaming related, video game music is really good because it doesn't get copyright striked ever, really, which is very good. Um,
Okay.
and then if not that, maybe paying for a service like Epidemic Music or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep. Even Monster Cat I find is pretty good.
Oh no, what was that?
Yeah, Monster Cat. Um, they're just like a
Hmm.
producer, and you can use all their music if you pay like $15 a month.
Yeah,
Um,
brilliant, awesome,
yeah, which is pretty cool.
very
And then
good.
once you've used it while you're subscribed, it's up there. It's just like Epidemic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So what if you just like editing? Like other kind of parts, like rather than managing your own YouTube channel, like
Hmm.
going into the full YouTube, what if you just want to edit for other people and you don't like actually being in the content? What
Yeah,
is like, what can you do with that?
yeah. I mean, a lot of people do that. It's kind of like what we said up front. Like a lot of people, all the editors that I know and all the editors that you'll find editing for all the big dogs or anyone, uh, you click on their channel and like they'll have a couple YouTube videos, but like that sort of just acts as their portfolio. And people are looking for editors all the time. Like there's never enough editors. And the weird thing that I found is a lot of people who do edit are very it's very mean to say, but like are not reliable and very lazy, which is great for you if you want to be an editor as a job, which means be good and be reliable and not be lazy. And I feel like being reliable and not being lazy are very easy to do. Just do the
Yeah.
work when they want it and show up. Um, so and it's definitely a viable thing, like a job. Like it's I feel like they're in more demand than ever, and it's a fun job, and yeah.
I guess it's quite flexible too, because you can
Mm.
kind of do it within your own time
Yeah,
whenever you
I've worked
kind of
in this room for 12 months for Americans. Like,
need. Lots of overnights.
yeah, there's been a couple wake up at 6 a.m. to get something done by like 1 p.m., but
Ooh,
that was quite rare.
that's that's a bit rough, but Yeah, I guess like what you're saying is editors are essentially the unsung heroes of YouTube
Yes.
because they're the ones that are doing all the work for these big YouTubers. They're the ones like are literally like, apart from coming up with the idea, the concept and funding it, they're the ones just putting the hard work in and
Mm,
getting the $1 million contents out. So learning how to edit videos, I guess, is a crucial step, regardless of in your content creation journey, regardless if you want to pursue being an editor or if you want to edit for your own videos.
mm.
I think it's a crucial step that you need to kind of take.
I mean,
So,
editing really is the creation part of content creation. Like that's where your everything else is gathering the ingredients, right? Like
mm,
writing the script or just speaking to the microphone or filming it. Like those you're gathering the ingredients, and like editing is the kitchen. And not everyone
yeah,
wants to be a chef. We get it, but we
yeah,
need a lot of cooks.
yeah, interesting. It's a good way to put it. And I think uh, I'm guilty of it, and a lot of people are guilty. Is like you get your camera out, you start recording a lot of stuff, especially at conventions and stuff like that, and then like you get it home and it kind of just sits there
Ugh,
like a C
yeah.
drive because you just can't be bothered getting around to it or whatever. And that's as you said, like that's where the magic kind of happens and it all comes together. So getting
Hmm.
stuck in is important.
Can I share something that like I don't know if this will be helpful, but like sometimes like I edit so much of my life is editing, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I hate this. This is such a drag, even at my point. But one of my favorite writers, Noah Baumbach, he wrote like Marriage Story. He wrote the Barbie movie, like the Greta Gerwig one, and a bunch of other great stuff like Francis Ha. Anyway, he has this great quote where he says like the actual everyday part of writing, he's like, I hate this. Why do I do it? This is awful. Oh, I mean, like it's such a drag. But then you finish it and you're like, I love it. This that's what it's all about. It's like
Yeah,
it's the creating is such a delight and such a treat. And so I totally understand that when like you film something and you're like, ugh, oh my god. But once, and I feel like that sometimes too. I'm in the
yeah,
program and I'm like, do I even like doing this? But once
yeah,
it's done, I always feel so it's so lovely to create stuff. I think.
yeah, yeah. Ah, fantastic. All right, well, because we're on a learning journey, and this is
Yeah.
all about learning more about content creation and improving
Hmm.
yourself. What's what's the number one thing you want to learn?
That I want to learn
Yeah,
that I haven't learned yet. Hmm. I really want. This is not really related, but I really want to learn Blender and 3D modeling. And I think, and I see a lot of cool people on Twitter and YouTube even incorporating little models they've made them. So I think that'd be real funky, real cool. And more After
yeah,
Effects stuff. I want to get better at After Effects. That's my next journey. I think.
yeah, yeah. After Effects is one I've considered.
Yeah.
I've been learning Fusion in DaVinci Resolve, which is like
Mm.
DaVinci Resolve's version of After Effects,
Hmm.
and it's node based, which is really
Oh.
hard to get your head around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I've heard that After Effects you can get more done with, or you can do a bit more with. So kind of
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I've started to dip my toes in because annoyingly, there's things you have to do a lot in videos that you can't do in Premiere, and like the big one's rotoscoping, which is like cutting people out, and then taking them out the background. You can't
mm,
do that in Premiere, which is quite annoying. So I'm sort of dipping my toes in all the time, but I wanna try and get fully into it and do some crazy effects.
cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on here at Snugboy. It's been a pleasure talking to you about this. And if anybody who's listening or watching this, you can find Snugboy's YouTube channel on YouTube as Snugboy, at Snugboy. There's some fantastic videos all about Zelda and the Barbie movies there, so you can go check that out. And do you still do freelancing work for anyone that's looking for editing?
I'm not doing freelancing anymore, no, but I used to. So if you want to hire me, get a time machine.
Awesome. Well, if you have enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel, and the more people that subscribe to the channel, the more guests we can get up here. We can start sharing more knowledge around content creation. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and thanks for being here, Snowboy.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was such a pleasure.